5:30 p.m. at night, and Jinx is very excited for his food today because he didn't go out much to get things. He only got 2 corn cobs at the last minute, and the rest was dried pieces of food, so he wasn't very confident today. So looking forward to his evening meal, and he didn't manage to get a banana in the troop, so he's back in, stuffing his face. His favourite foods are definitely bananas and corn on the cob. He does also get seed pods in his cage during the day as well, but you can see he's hungry today. So this is the reason that I can work on Skylar as well, because Jinx takes quite a while to eat his corn on the cob that he's just he's just taken from main feed outside. He's gone to the main feed pile and scored himself a corn cob, which he actually has 3 of them in here, so he's been busy. But it takes him a while to eat, so he's not going to go out yet, so we'll see how Millie goes. So Jinx is making those vocalizations because Yoshi's just appeared near the gate, and because Luxie and Hocus, the 2 alphas, are around him. Hocus is now grooming him. And of course Yoshi, being a spy, checking out what's going on with his alpha females. So at Jinx today, I've just let Pedro in. He's one of the boys. Usually we only let quiet males in with other males so they don't corner each other. But as Jinx isn't progressing as nicely as we would like, then we're just going to try letting Pedro in, because the 2 of them do play together outside and it looks like they might be forming some kind of alliance, so we're just seeing what they're like in a closed space. We do have the door open that they can leave if they wish as well. And so far Jinx is just up the top eating his butternut that he's just taken from the troop, and then Pedro's sat there, and then we've also got Millie in up the top as well, another calm monkey. And so far they're not really worried about each other, so they're just indifferent to each other at the moment, which is good. The main thing we don't want is aggression, intense aggression. See, now Pedro's just gone up to Jinx's sleeping perch, and Jinx is lip smacking at him, keeping an eye on him.
You can see how cautious this male is as he approaches or comes into the enclosure.
Down at Jinx we've got Count, who's just come in. He's come into the introduction cage for the first time. He's an older male, so he's not too much of a threat to Jinx. Just see what happens now as the other males, if they see him come in, and what Jinx thinks as well. Jinx is up the top.
You can have a look at his mannerisms. There's no threat in his pose or his position, so the tail's kind of drooping down. He's not prancing around or anything like this, although both males do keep looking at each other just to make sure there's no animosity between the 2 of them. But basically you can see their body language isn't showing each other any threatening poses or anything like this. They are very aware of each other, and this is kind of a way of testing the water to see what's going on. They may vocalize to each other every now and again, but it'll be very low key.
So they're both talking.
And as I said, they just keep an eye on each other as they're walking around, but it's just their posture that you can have a look at. It's not tense. They haven't got like kind of a hunchback, and their legs and things aren't stiff when they're walking around as if they'd be showing off or anything like that.
And then in the troop, you've got Yoshi over there sat by the shelter. And Count usually redirects if he sees Yoshi and Apollo together in the area, but I don't see Apollo at the moment. And my thoughts are Jinx will probably chase Count out if there was any redirection going on from what we've observed. It's just so that Jinx realises it's not always 100% safe in his cage, to encourage him to go out more, so this becomes a space as the enclosure is. So if we have the same monkeys that come in as outside, then we can see that it's going to be a similar space to what he'd have outside, rather than just if he comes in always by himself. So down at Jinx it's about 10:30 in the morning. He's been exploring a bit further now, and he went to that shelter and he sat in the shelter, which is good. And now he's gone back in because he's heard some commotion, which is just Rocky barking at Mark and Ellie, who are doing the rounds. So we got Pedro in with Skylar here, and then Jinx, there he goes, he's out again. So he's definitely going out a lot more confident, pulling at the gate, which is good. He's had some seeds. We've also got to the point where we've taken his main feed away now, so all of his food is in the troop. So he doesn't have any AM plates, his seeds he eats in the troop, his seed pods, and his main feed now he eats outside as well, which is really good. So Shantae's just let Jinx out, and Shantae's one of the South African volunteers that we've got here helping out during the lockdown, because we've still got the travel ban going on where we can't have international volunteers. So it's a big help having some people here locally that can actually help us out and keep these integrations going with Jinx. There's Yoshi in the background. Jinx normally doesn't come out of his cage when Yoshi's around, but he took steps out quite slowly and making submissive grunts. And so far he's there. As Yoshi gets closer, you can hear the grunts get more louder. And today Jinx has been quite far, and his longest time out is 7 minutes, which is really good, and he's been in and out many times. There's his corn cob again, his favourite food. But he did well to stay out whilst Yoshi was in the area. That's a good start. It's Victoria doing her thing with the fence.
So this is Pedro's way of making an alliance with Jinx. So what would happen is the male would basically groom the other one, and so that means these two will be a lot closer when it comes to fighting and things like that. They'll support each other ultimately in the end of the day. So it's not something that we actually see very often, that you see two males grooming for so long. Pedro's really done a good job of it, so he's groomed him for quite a long time. The footage just goes on forever of these two grooming each other. Here we've got like a dominance act, so basically any of the it looks like coupling, but it's not quite coupling. It's just more of a dominance thing, showing that I'm in charge, or I'm higher ranking than you in the end of the day. These sounds can have a various meaning. It could either mean they're happy to see another monkey that's come into the area, or it's also like I'm not a threat or anything. Like, I appreciate you being around here, but I'm not ready for a fight or anything like this. And it's more of a calming sound than an attack or fighting sound. Here's Millie now grooming Jinx, so he does seem to be getting a little bit of respect from a lot of the other monkeys. The females certainly do like him. So it looks like he's going to have a fairly pleasant time in the enclosure. I don't think he's going to find it too hard. You can see how confident Jinx is. He's not rapidly looking around and moving his head too much. He is aware of his surroundings, but he's happy, he's content, he's walking around very well, so he's actually integrating very nicely into this enclosure.
There's Victoria. Jinx has gone quite far today. There's Jinx behind, he's just been in one of the lower trees and Pedro in front. He's always getting in there filming. That's one of his favourite branches, the thick branch. He sits in there quite a lot, eating. And Pedro's never far away.
You can actually see how well monkeys blend into nature. Just the coloration and things like this helps them fall into these shadows and sort of disappear into the shadows. So, you know, if you're just driving past or walking past, it's not that easy to actually see these guys.
And Jinx just picked some grass by himself, which is great. He was watching Pedro the other day picking grass and he copied him. Well, he did the same as him. I don't know if it was copying him or just instinctive. But he certainly picked it after he saw Pedro eating grass. Thought it was a good idea.
A quick update on Jinx. He's starting to become much more comfortable in the troop, and he's just walked all the way to this intro cage on the right in the background, or sorry, on the middle one, just in the center now, and he's just climbed some of these trees here, which is the first time I've seen him get that high, and now he's just casually walking down. And if you can see, just right of the post in the background up high is Apollo, one of the high-ranking males, who has been chasing him a lot, but it seems to be very chill. And Jinx seems to be full of confidence, so this does bode really well.
So here we have Jinx climbed up to quite a high point in the tree, which is very normal behavior for males because they're normally the lookout to warn the rest of the troop. So this is kind of great to know that he's actually started doing this. So he's starting to find a tree for his own position. So normally each male's got a tree that they really like, and you can, most of the time you'll always find them in that tree. So I mean, here he's going around, seems to have found his tree, he's quite comfortable with himself, climbing around quite well. So this integration so far has gone very, very well. We haven't seen any real fighting. It's not to say this might not happen in the future, because sometimes it does take a little bit of a while for the tension to build up, especially when you've got things like females here. You see the female coming up to Jinx looking for attention. And that's the type of thing that can get the other males, especially your higher ranking males, a little bit upset with them. But so far Jinx is behaving. You can see he hasn't really groomed the female in the troop at all, which is a good point. So he hasn't really shown any attention that would attract any animosity towards himself. So he's behaving very well. He seems to know his place, and that's very important.
So it's getting dark. It's 6 o'clock in the evening, and we're doing late shifts now with Jinx to see if he wants to stay out because he had a good day and he spent 95 minutes out in the troop today. So he's in the shelter with Pedro, and it's just gone past 6 o'clock. It is raining, but he's found a nice spot, so let's hope, fingers crossed, he may stay out, which would be his first night out in the troop in the Holton Barrington enclosure. So watch this space and let's see what happens tonight. It's about 20 past 6 and you can hardly see anything because it's very dark. But Jinx and Pedro are somewhere there on the ground. So he's just got down from the shelter, but it's still dark. So I'm hoping he'll settle tonight. So Jinx has been out for 3 nights now. And as you can see, he's doing very well in the enclosure. He's been grooming Percy this morning. He's just ran to the fence and chased a bandit called Sheldon away. And he's really settling in. And there he is in the shelter.
Here you can see how comfortable he is eating some of the new grass of the season. And that's a very good move that he's just made there. Females approached him. He's moved away. So he's respecting the other males in the enclosure by this action that he's done, showing that he's not interested in their females. And this is a very good sign for him to get on well with everybody else.
So Yoshi's just approaching. And you can see Jinx is still respectful of Yoshi, being high ranked. So this time he made the vocalizations more the talking noise rather than the submissive grunting noise. So he's much more comfortable with him being in the area. He's not constantly lip smacking and being highly submissive, but he's, being respectful and, is very aware that he is high ranked and, he's doing everything right. He's behaving like any other male would towards one of the high ranked, which is really good.
So he is quite young, so he's probably a 1-year-old. Oh, he's looking a bit better than the photos.
Much better.
Yeah.
So when I got him, he didn't have any mobility in his back legs.
Yeah, I
and
saw
now
him
he's walking and
kind of
jumping.
hopping around. Yeah. So he's moving his back legs independently? Or he's still kind of hopping?
Sometimes he'll hop
Yeah.
and sometimes he'll walk like a normal monkey.
Okay.
And yesterday he actually climbed a tree for the first time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we'll give him a nice setup.
This little one has just arrived. He looks around about a year or so old. We're uncertain about the circumstances of why people actually had him. There's a lot of rumors. He was taken away from one lot of people and handed over to somebody else, and eventually ended up at a center that looks after other animals, who contacted us, and this little one has been brought through to us now to give him final care and see if we can get him right again. From doing our assessment, it looks like he's suffering from concussion. If you look carefully into his eyes, you'll see one pupil is slightly bigger than the other. Also, naturally, you can see he's not walking very well. So he's definitely suffering from concussion. Unfortunately, what happens in these circumstances is when the monkeys get concussion, they behave kind of friendly to everybody that picks them up because they're unsure of their surroundings. They're not really sure of what's been happening to them. And people actually think they are pets or been a pet, and they don't get the necessary treatment that's required to get them right. Because the little animal won't drink properly because he's slightly backward now, He was not going to drink from a milk bottle or anything. It actually takes specialized care to try and make sure they get the right nutrition, which is very important to get them right in the shortest time as possible. We have a very hard time getting people to understand this and getting these little animals to us as soon as we can. So even this guy, he's come to us very late. You can see he's battling to walk quite a bit. Hopefully the concussion will slowly come right. We're not too sure how long ago the accident was. It could have been a month or so, or a little bit longer. From what the information that we've picked up, it sounds like it was about 4 to 5 weeks ago that the people who handed over managed to get hold of him, and they have been caring for him and trying to get him right, and then decided it was best to come and see us. So we have made an appointment of the vet, because of course it's essential for us to get an x-ray done so we can just see where the problems actually lie, if he's got any fractures, especially in his hip area, to see if that's going to come right. So I don't think he's going to fully recover. He's probably going to be like little Cuddy, but it's very hard to say at this point. So he does need a lot of prayers, people, your thoughts for him, and we're going to see what we can do to try and help this little one and get him as independent as we can and back on his feet, and of course to enjoy life as best as a little monkey that he can. Well, we'll be following this little one's progress over the next couple of days. Of course, our first bigger thing is to get him through to the vet in the morning, let him get checked over, just so that we can find out where all the injuries really are and what we're up against to try and get him back to being as normal as possible. From our side, thank you everybody. Thanks for continuing to watch the program. We're getting closer and closer to the next baby season, although we're trying to hold it off as long as possible. Not that we have much choice in it, but I'm sure it's going to be happening any day now. Thank you for watching the adverts, clicking on them, for the people who are continually donating through PayPal, our GoFundMe account, Patreons. We really do appreciate it. You guys, you can't believe the difference you're making. You are helping us survive through a very, very rough time. And it is making a difference to a lot of little monkeys' lives. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this episode and look forward to the one from next week when we'll have more on this little guy. Thanks.